Only do this body for you, for you, for you. I was hoping you would come through.
What's good, Dream Team? So, today I wanted to talk a little bit about self hatred and self doubt. This is something that's common in every single community, including ours. I think that it's taboo, obviously, in our community because we have a lack of community. We're kind of at a disadvantage when it comes to communal bonds and a lot of things, and this is one of those things that we're at a disadvantage to. It seems like a lot of conversations had about mixed people and biracial people is taboo, and I believe that it's mainly because we don't have a community. And when you don't have a community, you're not having certain conversations, and when you're not having conversations about your experiences and who you guys are as a group of people and how you operate and the ins and outs of that, it becomes taboo because we're just not having these conversations. And unfortunately, when these conversations are being had, a lot of the time they're not by people like us. Like, it will literally be conversations being had about us, to us. And I think that that's like so absurd because no other race would stand for that. They would all call that out for what it is. And I'm doing that right now. Like, that is absolute bullshit. Stop having conversations ab- about us to us. You can't teach us about us. You can't tell us our own experiences. Only we can tell you. And that's that. And that's why we have so many confused biracial people running around here. It's not just because they come out and they're just naturally confused. Other people who are monoracial are fucking confusing them, and then they're going on and it spreads like a fucking cancer, and it's really something sad to see, and it really needs to be stopped. But let's go ahead and have that conversation about self-doubt and the lack of self-love. Every single people, like every single community, the white, the black, the Asians, the Indians, they all have had instances and examples of self doubt, obviously, because that's just a human experience, and lack of self love racially. So it's not anything different when it comes to mixed people, and I'm kind of tired of people pretending as if, like, if we show any sort of confusion, or if there was any point in our life that we were confused racially, instead of asking questions like, well, why were you confused and what do you think led you to that point, they literally off the top just assume that that is a natural thing for us. They're like, oh, well, it makes sense that you're confused because you're a makeup of more than one race. You're not monoracial. So, of course, that would be confusing. When there are people out there like fucking Tracy Barbie. Okay, there are people out there, and for the longest time, the black community, they made fun of Michael Jackson. They were like, "Oh, he's confused," and it's just like people all have like people in their group that are clearly fucking confused about who the fuck they are and what they are. I mean, hello, Eminem. We have all these other people. They'll think, well, because I grew up around this group of people, or I grew up in this culture, um, that I can basically behave in this way. And the weird part is it's accepted when it comes to other people, but if like a biracial person is confused and they behave in a certain way, then it's like demonized, and they're like, well, this is why it's bad to mix races, and you guys, and they try to go around and convince not only our people but other people that we just like live this horrible tragic life because we're just so confused all the time. And I'm just like, majority of biracial people, if you actually listen to their stories, like if they were confused or they had any self-doubt, like it was just a point in their life. It's not their entire fucking existence. They're not going around saying, "Oh my God, I'm just so miserable and I'm so tortured," and so on and so forth. Like, it doesn't destroy their lives. Like, it's just a very common thing. But monoracial people have made it to where it is taboo because we don't have our own community, and that's why it's very important that we speak out and we tell our own experiences. That's one thing that I cannot stand is a monoracial person who is not of mixed race just because they got some mixed kids or they got some mixed nieces and nephews and cousins. That like they know anything. No, that's not how that works. I will never know the experience of a black woman. I am not a fully black woman. I will never know the experience of a white woman, an Asian woman, or an Indian woman, or any kind of monoracial woman or man because I am not that. I have not lived that life. And that is just one of the many facts of life. It's not shade. It's not to say anyone is better. It's just fucking true. So I don't know why they would think that it's any different than us. Like, you are not mixed race. You will never be a mixed woman. You will never be a mixed man. You do not know what it is like to live our experience. You do not know what it's like to be us. And that's why you guys are the ones that are confused 99% of the fucking time. Like, I see these conversations happening about mixed people. Like, I had just dropped a video where a mixed man was saying that mixed women understand his plight and that he likes that, he rates it. And the women, they're all black, they were like, why, that doesn't make any sense. And they're just basically fucking confused. And he told them why. He was like, because she's mixed. Like, it's that simple. If there were black people having a conversation about being black and a black man was on a panel with a bunch of mixed people and he said black women understand my plight more than anyone, I highly doubt those mixed women would be fighting back against it unless they're fucking weirdos. And guess what? They would get called out for fighting back against it, as they should. It is no different for monoracial people. Yes, you should be called out. You should definitely be called out because you're weird. Why do you want that spot? You already have your spot. You already have your community. What are you actually fighting for? You're fighting to do more work? That doesn't make any sense. Like, you're fighting to be a mule? Okay, like, it's just really, really silly to me. But again, like I said, they will be confused and then they will turn around and gaslight you that you were confused. Okay, so what does it say? I am the only mixed kid that doesn't subscribe to the whole too white for the black and too black for the white rhetoric. I know I'm white passing, but I've never had my blackness questioned like other mixed people claim they do. IDK, why? Well, mainly, I think why is it's a gender thing. And number two, you're definitely not white passing. That's another thing. There are lots of people in and outside of the mixed community that will look at mixed people, and even mixed people that will look at themselves and they'll say, oh, I'm black passing, or I'm white passing, or I think I look mixed, or I think I look like that. What everybody has to understand in and out of the mixed community is that looks are subjective, especially when it comes to mixed people. Some people will look at you and think, hey, yeah, this guy is white passing. It may be, and it's probably if you're around someone who is either super duper white or super duper dark, they might think that you're a white passing. But me, as someone who is mixed presenting, okay, in my personal opinion, okay, in my personal opinion, I would look at this person and say, oh, they're either Latin or they are mixed race, okay, which are very fucking similar because a lot of Latin people are fucking mixed. They're mixed with stuff. Like, it makes sense. That's like the closest comparison that you would get to. I would not look at this person and call them white based off of their hair texture and their curly hair in general and their features. He has a pretty wide nose, but yeah, I'm not going to go down and break down someone's facial structure, but it just does not give white to me personally. um but yeah, I mean, at best maybe some kind of spicy white. Maybe you could be mistaken for like a Sicilian or something, but I don't know. Like, it just, I don't see white. But that's that's my own perspective because looks are subjective. That is based off of what I see. But someone else may look at you and see something else and say, "Oh no, Dreamy, that person is white passing." And I'm not going to argue back on that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm saying all this to say that it's kind of pointless to argue with people about who is this and who is that unless they like definitely look like white. Like Rashida Jones. She looks fucking white, but she is mixed race, but she looks white. Like, she's not mixed presenting, she's not black presenting. She literally looks white. And then, we have other people on the other scale who literally look black passing. Like, there's really no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And then we have people who literally look mixed presenting. And there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But there's always a gray area when it comes to a lot of, mixed people. A lot of us are ambiguous looking and can be mistaken for several different things. So when someone is ambiguous looking, there's really no point in like going back and forth on whether someone is looks like this or looks like that. You just have to chalk it up to, well, looks are subjective, because that's just the reality of the situation. Um, but I commented under his video and I said, well, if you keep seeing mixed race people, saying this thing where it's like, hey, I was too black for the white kids and too white for the black kids, that's probably something that's actually happening. I'm really sick of the gaslighting, whether it comes from other mixed people or monoracial people. This whole gaslighting thing of like, oh, like making fun of us for telling our experiences because maybe they don't like the way that we're saying it. I don't think that there's any way that you could be more PC by saying, hey, I felt like I was an outsider. That is a roundabout way of saying what this means, of saying, hey, I kind of felt like an outsider. I felt like I just didn't quite fit in here and I didn't quite fit in there. What is the fucking problem? Like, how does that offend people? And also, how is that funny to people? Why is that like a running joke? And then, like, because it's been made fun of so much, there are mixed people that feel like they have to go out of their way to completely reject that an experience that they too, like a lot of other monoracial people, do not understand. And so because they don't understand it, they just downright reject it. They make fun of it. And they're like, oh, you guys are like fucking weird, the ones that experience displacement. And it's like, we don't have a community. And if you're, imagine being a race of people, you don't have a community. So you're stuck between two communities that you're not fully a part of, right? Like, it's not anyone in there that's like fully looks like you. Every racial community, they have their own race of people. Anyone else that is there are literal guests. Like, hey, it's a black man, he marries a white woman, she is a guest in that community. A white woman that marries a black man, he's a guest in that community, right? But we all live amongst each other, and for the good people, we try to live in harmony, right? Imagine that, but you have no home based community. How the fuck are people surprised when children more than likely feel displacement?